thanks for tuning into this video as to why classical Pilates delivers best results. This method was started by Joseph Pilates in the early 20th century and has not been changed since then. And you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which is a bit of a simplified thing to say, so I will elaborate a little bit. I feel right now I really should say something about myself without trying to make this video about me, because it isn't certainly about me. My background was of a contemporary Pilates teacher. I taught that method that way for about 10 to 15 years and decided that as I was going along my career, things were going very smooth. I wanted to go back to the origin of the method, very unaware that in this method there's a lot of dilution. So what do I mean by dilution? Is that the person who makes a method will teach it and then teach it to other people who would then transfer it to other teachers, which was my situation. I came across someone who was very close to the root. That person had been trained by Jay Grimes, and Jay Grimes had worked with Joseph Pilates when he was still alive. So it's only after I completed that course that I realized that actually being close to the origin is very important for anything you learn in life, because that is the foundation, that is close to the source of the person who originated it. So that was one big element. The other element is I found myself, excuse me, really confronted with equipment which I had never been working on, because training as a contemporary teacher, I bought contemporary equipment, thinking nothing much about the difference of equipment. Finding myself then confronted with what I now have in the studio, which is the classical equipment, and confronted with not just different measures. You will find that classical equipment is slightly smaller, but also a setup of springs which are of a different resistance, i.e. stronger. It really transformed my way of working and also transformed my body. The proof is in the pudding, another saying. So for me, that to my clients, not just on my own body initially, but then transforming it with my own clients, I saw amazing results. So that's another reason why I strongly believe in classical Pilates, and why I feel very comfortable doing this video, because I've been there. I've been in the contemporary Pilates, I've been now in the classical world of Pilates, and I can easily compare. The other thing that I find quite amazing about the classical Pilates is when you contemporize something, you tend to add on. The simplicity of the classical Pilates, the fact that maybe you have fewer options, fewer exercises, means you have a lot of repetition, and repetition means success. This now takes me back to my roots before I was a contemporary Pilates teacher, is I was a ballerina. And whether you are a prima ballerina or anyone who's a beginner at ballet, you perform a set of routines which ground your body, give you the rudimentary discipline and repetition to achieve that success. You will never see, for instance, a classical violin concert of someone doing the scales. You'll never see an opera singer doing the scales on stage. They will perform a beautiful aria, but before they did that aria, they performed and they reenacted the same routine every day to get on stage and perform at their best. Classical Pilates does exactly that. So I believe strongly that the clients feel they are motivated by their own repetition and reconfirm, because if you do a set of exercises one day and then you perform them 2 months later and see that they have changed a lot, you can see for yourself. There is no need for anyone else to reconfirm it to you. So that is another part of the classical work that I strongly believe in. So I think if we can all in our lives simplify things, we go back to an efficiency before we then complicate things for the life of day to day. What I've seen now myself over the years is, since the pandemic especially, people have realized that their bodies are in need of a strength, an internal strength, a mental strength, and alongside also the world of bodybuilding, for instance, or gym work. The stronger you are physically, the more you perform better mentally. And that's one of the reasons why I strongly, again, believe in classical Pilates. It has a almost meditative side to it, which brings the client in an amazing form of wellness. Hence, I think where the contemporary Pilates has its place in society and does amazing work, it can sometimes send the client lost into certain specificities of the body. There is no need for us being specific. If you're looking at the method being grounded abdominals, a frame that works, stability through the frame, and then elaborating later on. So these clients of mine that do classical Pilates will then go on to their padel, will then go on to their running, swimming, whatever it is that they feel good doing in their social activities, enhanced by what it is that we do. So for me, the message is try classical Pilates, try to see for yourself how something that has been around now for a century, with springs, with frames that enable you to move it rather than it moving you, empowers you to become really the best version of yourself. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.